Hey everyone, this is Ellen Judy. I am your PLC lead for high school dance on the Godot Communities platform. And welcome to the third and final segment of the first webinar for the 22-23 school year. Today, we are going to talk about building relationships with students. First segment for this webinar, we talked about the high school classroom overview, what that looks like. A lot of us have different scenarios, but we do have a lot of similarities. So that was the first one. In the second segment, we talked about community building and creating class culture, which is so important in these times. And then today we are going to talk about building relationship with students. So, and I know that is incredibly important right now, more than ever. Important. In fact, during last school year, the 21-22 school year, I felt like I did more relationship building than teaching dance. It felt right, but the students really needed those positive interactions and relationships with teachers. So I think for me personally, my students see my passion for dance and they know I'm positive and welcoming, and I get that buy-in from them. So that's important. So I know it's not the case 100% of the time, but I think in general it is true. If they see your passion for dance and you're positive and welcoming for them, I think that you'll have their buy-in most of the time. So besides the community building activities that I talked about in segment 2, so that's they're getting to know each other, and I'm also getting to know who they are as well. Because when they're doing those community building activities, I'm walking around and listening and sort of interjecting a little bit, or injecting, some conversation into their conversations. But so I learn their names and I do it really quick. So I know this is not something that's possible for everyone, and I don't know how I got so good at it, but I literally, the first day, I look at them, I call roll, see their faces, and then it's like I just know their names the next day when they walk in. So I know it's a gift. Maybe some of you are good like that as well. I also, for the first week, I know what helps me is I have the roll call, and I'm always standing at the front when they walk in. And I really try to say hi to each and every one of them, like say their name, like, hi, Saba, hi, whoever. And that helps me remember as well. So, I think they really appreciate that. So I think that's a big one to remember. If you can learn their names as quick as possible, I think you'll be good. Let's see. And also, they'll come in the room. If we had a discussion the day before, I'll ask them for an update, or, just little small talk as they're walking in the room. So with that, I do have conversations with each kid. So this generally happens when I'm waiting for them to change. So they'll walk in the dance room, they'll go change. And inevitably, there'll be a few who are already changed in like 30 seconds. If they all could change that quick, that would be great. And so then I'll have a one-on-one or a small group conversation with those kids who are already out and changed. So, that's a way I do it. And then sometimes we don't have a lot of time, but I'll do like a big class discussion, just like, how was your weekend? What'd you do? Tell me about it, blah, blah, blah. And the same thing will happen when they're changing back into their school clothes. Some will be out quick. And so I'll take that chance to have conversations with them. And just, try to build that rapport, let them know that I really care about them and care about what they're doing, not just in the dance classroom, but outside as well. So the first week of school, I do utilize Google surveys, and I do 2 different surveys, and I will, I think I can drop the link in the discussion as well. It'll just go to my Google, and I'll have them open so you can see them. But what I did, I was going to go through the questions that I asked. So the 2 surveys, one is for me to get to know them and a little bit about their life. And then the second one is a dance survey. So I sort of know where they're at and what they want to do throughout the year. So my student survey, I'll just go through the questions. So the first question I ask is their name, of course. And then I added this one this year. What are your preferred pronouns? I have that one on there. I ask if they have any food allergies. How many brothers and sisters do you have? What languages do you speak at home? Language or languages. Do you bring your lunch from home or get lunch at school? What extracurricular activities are you involved in? I ask what clubs and or school organizations are you a part of? I ask what their hobbies are or things they'd like to do in their free time. I'm a dog person, so I have to ask about pets. So I ask them if there's any pets at home and what are they and how many. Because that's the one big thing. I mean, all of my students know about me is basically that I love dogs and dance. So I always show them pictures of my dogs at the beginning of the year. So I got to ask that. Then I ask them, who are their friends in your dance class? And then I have them list them. And if there are none, then they can put none. They don't know anybody. I ask them what they are most proud of. I ask them what their favorite thing about school is. I have gotten a few nothings from that one. Then I have finished the sentence. I learn the most when the teacher, to finish. Then I learn the most when and then they finish out that. And then 2 more on this survey. I put list at least one fun, interesting, quirky, weird, nerdy fact that you think I should know about you. And then there's another question. If there's anything else you want me to know about yourself, then tell me here. So it is really nice. I go through them and then I can get to learn about each of them. And then I'll ask questions so then that'll give me material to ask them questions when they're walking in the room. Like, oh, how's your dog? You said you had blah, or I always go to the dog. I'll always ask about your dog. Or, just anything like, oh, how I know you're in FBLA, how did the meeting go? Or, just anything like that. I know you run, how's track? I never remember which is cross country and track, but so that kind of thing. Just for them to understand that I do care about what they do outside of dance. Then the dance survey that I use or that I ask them, here's what I ask. It's a pretty short one. So if you are new to Brookwood Dance, please tell me about any dance experience you have. This does not have to be formal training such as modern or jazz, but tell me about any and all dance you have experienced. And then if you are returning to BHS Dance and have dance experience during the summer or want to tell me something about dance experience that I don't know about, then tell me now. So that gives my, I could have my 4-year students come in their senior year. I mean, I know what they do and where they dance, but I had 2 go to GHP this summer. So I want to know all about that so they can tell me about that. And then the kids that I don't know, which I have a ton of new kids this year, and I have no idea what their dance experience is. So this gives me a chance to see what they've done and what their experience is. And I really don't frame it in the ballet, modern, and jazz vernacular, I guess. I just frame it in any kind of dance experience. So, and that's helpful. That's really helpful. And then the other questions I ask are, what is a short-term goal you have for the dance class? I say like fall semester. And then what is a long-term goal you have for the BHS dance department? And then the last one I ask is, what is one style of dance you would like to cover this year? And then I said, please do not put modern, jazz, or hip hop. We already do those styles. And then I said, if you don't want to do any other forms besides those, then write that. So got a lot of different answers. We're doing a lot of African, a lot of Bollywood, salsa, got a whole bunch. We're even, in one of my classes, they're even teaching us some East African. The students are Eritrean and Ethiopian, and they're teaching us some of those dances. So that's been pretty cool. So, but anyway, and so this also helps because in the last 3 years, I have allowed, excuse me, a lot more students to choreograph for our shows. This kind of thing gives me some good insight into each kid's personality and gives me a chance to work even more closely with them. And I allow them to choreograph, and I think that gives them not only a sense of ownership in the dance department, but also they appreciate that I've trusted them to do it. So I think me getting to know all this stuff about them helps me feel like I can trust them to work with their peers and to choreograph for the show. And so I think in that way, it's just these surveys and getting to know the kids and building those relationships have really given back in that way. So now our shows are mostly student choreographed, which I love. So I'm sure you have some tried and true ways that you build relationships with your students, and I would love to hear that. I will try to put a link to both my surveys in the discussion thread. So if you want to look at that, you can. So that's it for this last segment of the first September webinar. Next month is best practices for the dance classroom. First is classroom management post-COVID. Classroom management admits the chaos. We're all controlled chaos here in dance. And then building relationships with administrators and others in the building. So those are the 3 topics for next time. All right. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you soon.